Okay, channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on So Many Levels. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Woohoo!
Dragons in Dungeons.
I am Christiana Ellis, and I am the Dungeon Master. Our players tonight, Starla Hodgson as Carolina Swift,
Hello, friends.
Jenny Meltzer as Zaleen,
Hello.
Paul Fisher as Zinhorn Windborn,
Good evening.
and Mark Kilfoyle as Vertigo.
Yes, I suppose we are.
I am suddenly paranoid about my audio settings. I don't feel like I have any special reason to be worried about it, but I feel like I have to double check it anyway. And yeah, okay, seems like fine. Okay. All right, so when last we left our heroes, I have not updated the episode title either. When last we left our heroes, they had completed their battle with the Lord of the Pillarines and teleported to the Feywild, where they took some time to rest in the vacation resort of the Archfey, and had a little bit of a palaver with the Princess of Dream, one of the Archfey there, who gave them some cryptic advice, and then they moved on to back to the material plane so they could touch base with some of their friends. Right now, they have rescued Tilitha, Rupino, and Trandonel from the temple. Apparently, it is all now deactivated and all of their power has been leached away from them. They are physically fine, but no longer have any magical power within them. And I'm trying to adjust the title and talk at the same time. It makes it complicated. So, you rescued them from that temple. You came out and you contacted your friend, Lord Yobert, who has his flying castle headed your way. You still don't know a whole lot about what's going on in the broader world, except that things seem bad from a number of different directions. So you do, however, have your longtime nemesis dead and trapped in a ring. You have got some of his magical items recovered, and now you're waiting for your friends to come and pick you up. So, Pocket Protectors, what would you like to do?
I'm going to walk around and give everyone else more sandwiches since Zinhorn was making them feel guilty about eating sandwiches. Just feel like a sandwich for you, one for you.
Mm, elvish sandwiches. I mean, those don't just fall out of trees.
They're not elvish, they're fairy. There's a total
They.
difference. I mean, if
Oh,
we ate
yeah.
it, we could get. Anything could happen. Just saying.
Mm, I still want a sandwich.
You probably already had one, and you
I.
just want another one, I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah. That's.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the problem is.
There's like a whole bag of them. We have like this bag of holding filled with Feywild sandwiches.
All right. Well, that's-
You were packed a rather luxurious and opulent picnic basket, the kind that has like real silverware and all sorts of fancy little compartments, and a bit that keeps things cold and all sorts of things.
oh, neat.
Yeah, and so your friends, Tillitha, Rupino, and Trandonel do seem hungry, so they gratefully accept Feywild
More,
sandwiches.
more sandwiches.
Trandonel is briefly concerned, is like, isn't it a problem to eat food in the Feywild?
You're not in the Feywild. The food came from the Feywild. You're fine.
It's
Is
no,
that?
I mean, it could be. You are correct. You are correct.
Mm-hmm.
But I am thinking that they did
We're gonna have a
not.
really good story to tell them later, so I feel like that's probably a
Yeah,
good trade.
yeah. I don't think they're gonna. I'm hoping that they're not gonna be like, well, you ate the food.
Mhm.
So probably while everyone's eating, I'll take that opportunity because I don't think we did that, or maybe we started to like talk about everything that happened on the island. Like, did
Mhm.
we do that while
I
Vertigo was
think,
out?
yeah, I don't know that we did it really explicitly. I think you probably filled in some details on your way back out of the temple, but we can certainly say that, over this period of time,
Mhm.
you share the story with them. I think you had filled in the basics before, but to a large extent, they're unable to really tell you much more than what you already know about what's there because it's not how they left it. So you're the ones that have been there the most recently. But certainly they are as alarmed as you would expect by the prospect that the construct makers and the siphoners, who they are not familiar with, um, might be at large building their power. Um, they definitely confirm what Vertigo had already sort of suspected, which is that the nature of the way that they are abusing that Denutherian magic of sort of harnessing these nightmares and using them to power things, um, the increased prevalence of those nightmares due to all of these tears in the fabric between the plane of dream and the material plane is really just going to fuel their fire. While everybody else is going to see it as a problem, they are seeing it as someone has started delivering fuel rods to them.
The nightmares.
Yeah.
The slod. Hmm. Uh, so what happens if we start closing these tears? I
Well,
mean,
can we even?
that's the first question. Yeah, I guess. Can we close them, and then what happens if we do? Like, could we close them fast enough?
So Rubino says, well, I mean, obviously, I think that it would be beneficial if they could be closed, but I don't immediately understand a straightforward way to do so. Not to mention the idea that I believe they were all caused by the massive pressure differential, so to speak, created when the shield went down. It's as though it's like it was an explosion and they are shrapnel.
Hmm.
And you do.
Wasn't it also that that there was just this buildup of nightmare energy that was overflowing
Mhm.
into like the dream realm?
Yeah.
Like,
And you were also told by the Princess of Dream that many of these tears are the sort of tears that, under normal circumstances, the the planes could just heal them. They would close on their own. But there's just so many so fast, and currently people actively seeking to make them worse.
Hmm. The You mean the slod or the contract makers, construct makers,
I don't know why we keep
or
yes.
both
doing
of them?
contract makers. That's what I mean.
Because they make
I suppose it's
contracts.
true. They did also make contracts.
Yeah, and they were very interested in
Hmm.
making contracts.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
it's like walking past a row of cellular stands at the mall and dropping your phone.
Hmm.
The vultures come and, oh, need a new phone? Need a new phone? I got a better deal.
You're gonna have to let go of this phone thing.
What's a
You've
phone?
never been at the Pashan
Exactly.
Mall.
There's a
Um.
mall in Pashon.
So,
Several.
yeah. Well, right. It's like the in the Skyport Tower where Sticky Zickies is.
Yep.
Anyway, Yes, so that you have learned some of those things. You also got a little bit of input from Marushka, who Zaleen contacted and realized that the part of her that had been severed when the shield went up blocking Dinuthair is now free again, but rather than reuniting, it is basically howling with murderous rage, and the rest of Marushka is currently trying to contain her.
Hmm.
And so you see basically a big storm kind of on the horizon in that direction.
Well, hopefully the big storm will slow down the constructs from getting here. Um, I feel like we should have an army waiting to crush them.
Let me just pull one out of my pocket.
Well, that's why I was
I
talking to
know,
people
like,
in Pashan, because
but we're so far away from there.
I know.
I mean, unless we could just open up some weird portal and they could transport here. But even then, I don't
Yeah.
think that
I
that's
don't think
reasonable.
armies are the answer. Yeah. We have to figure out what the root of the problem is.
I think we already know.
Mhm.
We know that it's the Titan thing. We just need to figure out a way to
It's I don't
subdue
know
it.
that it's necessarily that. I still am going back to they've harnessed all of this power but haven't paid the price.
Mhm.
So there's that imbalance in that. There's also the imbalance with the nightmare energy. Like it's coming back to balance again. And so I don't think the question is or the problem necessarily is the pillar. It's the people paying the price for the magic that they've taken. I don't know how one goes about getting everyone to just agree to pay probably some pretty hefty costs. But I don't see a way that that we can fix this without that happening. It's just going to stay broken.
Mm, instead of them agreeing to finally pay the cost, what would happen if, say, some cosmic loan sharks showed up to break their knees and make them
So the
pay?
problem with that and where it gets complicated is all of those aforementioned contracts. And people have had themselves like they're indemnified on behalf of these other people, the people that have actually used the magic. But it's not those people that used the magic that are going to incur the cost.
Hmm.
And that's where this becomes a much more complicated problem.
Tillitha chimes in there and says, after everything that we've been through, reflecting for so long on the way our attempt to contain them failed, I'm left thinking that we simply tried to place a bandage over a poisoned splinter, so to speak. I think that you are right that the ultimate problem here is the abuse of power, if it comes down to that. But it has become such a complex, interrelated problem. I'm not sure that anyone could ever provide a proper accounting of what prices are still owed by whom. It has become a miasma of debts and IOUs and extortion and theft.
So, I'm going to relate to Tillitha what happened when I used the pipe. Um, when we were fleeing the Construct Maker's fortress, and how everyone just sort of collapsed and they were like, "Oh, you don't know what you've done," and we were like, "Yeah, we don't care what we've done," and we got away. Um, what actually happened then? Because I'm not really clear on that. Were people like somehow forced to pay the price for some of those contracts, or?
Rupino says, I have a theory about that. Now, bear in mind that I think that their techniques may have advanced since I last had direct contact with them, but based on your description and the way they seem to be operating, I think what is happening there is that they are essentially using their workers as not only employees but batteries, right? They're drawing out just a little bit at a time at a contractually agreed rate, and then giving them the material benefits of food and shelter and so on in order to supposedly compensate them for that. And it has produced this base where the entire atmosphere of the whole operation is contingent on constantly drawing from everybody there. And I think that it created such a if you ever when you dig up a tree in a forest and the way the roots kind of are all grown and interwoven together,
Mm-hmm.
I you can't really just pull one out clean. And so I suspect that any nightmare that my pipe would have tried to extract wasn't in any one person or thing. It was kind of in everybody. And so in trying to bring it out, it was too big to coalesce into one form, and it was drawing out of everyone there.
Hmm.
I would have been interested to see if it would have been able to resolve or if they had some way to interrupt the process. But I don't think I understand certainly why you felt as though perhaps it was not wise to wait around and see.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely would not have been wise to wait around and see.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But given that the construct makers, they seem to have based their whole technology on the ability to harness the nightmare energy, it would not surprise me that they might have, if they could avoid being overtaken by that initial wave, they may have had a way to reverse or at least interrupt the process.
Hmm. So maybe a small, plucky band of adventurers could sneak in and start that whole process over, and then actually fight the leaders of the construct makers while the whole pipe smoke thing was drawing all of their energy away from them.
You
And
mentioned that at the Pillarine Fortress they had an arcane core.
yeah.
I think that to operate at the level they do, the way that they do, by drawing out a little bit at a time from lots of people, and then using that to empower great big constructs, they have to have some sort of a central place where all the power is collected before it can be distributed out to whatever they're creating. That is almost certainly a device holding a tremendous amount of that power.
So, having just blown up one fortress, because it had a very large power supply that could be sabotaged, maybe we could take out a second fortress?
I mean, this is speculation, but it certainly seems as though that's if you could eliminate that arcane core or stop them from using it in some way, at the very least, it would interfere with their ability to continue generating new constructs.
All right. Someone argue with me and tell me why I'm wrong.
To what end?
Yeah, that's my question. That doesn't really solve our problem?
Well, it knocks the construct makers down power-wise a couple of notches.
Well,
Could be
but
Maybe.
overrun.
solving the problem would pull the rug out from under them completely, I would think.
Well, I mean, that's not necessarily true. I mean, for example, if you've got a zoo and all the animals escape, you can go and close all the cages again, but that doesn't recapture the animals.
And they would be weaker and probably overrun by the third party in all of this and become their servants instead. As it is now, they may serve a similar feature to that storm, keeping some of this at bay.
It does seem like this is a problem with multiple fronts, and it might be wise to consult with any allies you think you might have in order to try to determine how best to target your actions.
What do you know of the shadows you fought against in the beginning? The reason that much of this started is because they invaded. And it seems that's where the problem might be solved at the beginning.
So Tillith, Trananol and Rupino look to Tillitha again, and she just says, "The children's book version of the story. In some ways, I could tell you a version that has more detail, more facts, but I don't know that it would be more true. They were creatures as though from a children's story, and they bedeviled us, and it was my hope that something that could be done led me to the pillar. And for quite some time it appeared that my wish had been granted and that we had solved the problem. And it was only years later, as I saw how things were trending, that I began to wonder if I had really done a good thing at all. I don't know that I really questioned it then even, because she looks at her friends as we did after all go to the pillar once more, desperate for a solution. And once again, I look at the world now and I'm not sure that we are better than if we had not done so.
These entities that you are facing, first, are they the same as the ones we faced off when? The ones that are less faceless and more malicious? Or were they the ancestors of those beings?
I wish I knew more. They have never had any one consistent shape. There were certainly many that we became familiar with in terms of shapes, but it was never at all clear that they actually were different kinds of creature at all, or just different forms that the same entities might take. And if they do, in fact, come from the plane of dream, then, like spirits here in the material plane, it may be that they are dark and twisted reflections of the entities that live here.
Shaped.
Yes.
Hmm.
Did the messages we got from Yobert, did they indicate that there were tears there too in Pashan?
I'm trying to
I guess
remember
the messages were
exactly
also
what they
short.
said.
Yeah.
You have reason to believe you do see them here, like on the mainland, and not only in the on the island. I I think Yobert did say something about there being tears all over.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so they should be here soon. I think he said would be about a day.
That puts a problem in any sort of army. You'd have to attack everywhere all at once.
I would think that the construct makers would be, at this point, like, leaving the island in droves and looking for people to conquer and forced to sign contracts.
They did have a lot of infrastructure that was hard to move. And if, like the temple, or the Pellerine Temple, they were similarly being attacked through each of these tears, they may be busier. They may still want to come to the mainland in desperation, but I suspect they're not as planned as they would like to be. I'm more afraid of the ones that consume energy, ones that consume life. They don't have a reason to stay. They have a reason to leave. They're rebels as well, but they're less dangerous.
Trandonel does say, for all their faults, the construct makers at the very least operate in the open. You see them coming.
As long as you're watching the skies, some of them can be very fast and dangerous.
So, we can, like if you feel like we're getting fruit from this conversation, we can continue, but we can also just sort of, fade out there and let time pass until the castle arrives. We don't necessarily have to role play 18 hours until they get here.
I think while participating in the conversation, I think that Vertigo seems distracted and would be looking at those other devices, the ones that seem to share a common source or some sort of commonality, but doesn't really understand what they are yet.
Yes, as mentioned last time, you have two items that were being held by Percival separately, but clearly are designed to fit together. But even when put together, they are clearly not a complete assembly. So they seem to be only two parts of something that has many more potentially.
So probably what it is using his pen and little minor illusion magic to put them in different configurations and draw out what he speculates what more would be there. But the drawings always look vague and they don't connect back together again.
I don't think you really did anything with them yet, right? You just
We haven't done any identifies or stuff
yeah,
like
that's
that.
what I was just gonna
That would be
say.
part
Like
of
you
it,
haven't,
yeah.
yeah. You also haven't asked Percival.
It's true.
Percival did bring it up, but it was like near the end, and I don't think there was any elaboration on it.
I think there would be a running conversation that no one else is hearing at that
Okay.
point.
Well, so certainly, would you have asked him about them?
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, I mean, they're yours now. So, what do you plan to do with them?"
I'd like to know what they are, what they can do,
Well,
where they came from.
as far as I can tell, the one and the one you're holding, and it's this thing that looks kind of like a little clockwork gearbox. He says that one's called just the gear. And then as he kind of you know I think he just indicates like he's not pointing or anything, like he can't gesture, so that's where I'm struggling with the description a little bit. And he says the other one is the loop, and that's the one that looks kind of like a coil of wire with various other little bits of metalwork around them.
Vertigo doesn't have identify memorized, but it can cast it as a ritual. So
Okay.
there would be a slow ritual throughout all this.
Sure. So I think as you're kind of working on that, he says, the gear will give you a little bit more, gives you a little bit of a force of personality. And actually, hang on, let me just, I'm going to describe it with the ability to actually look at it and remind me what it does, because I made some notes of it, but I didn't actually like write them all down carefully. Says, well, that one is kind of attuned to some of the energies of the far realm. You can use it to conjure to you a little monstrous helper. You can also use it to exert your will to interfere with the thinking of those who you target around you. And so the magic item that you can pull up for this is the far gear. That's what it is in D&D Beyond. But here, we're just calling it the gear.
Okay.
The other one is the, I think, yeah. The other one is, gives you a little, a displacer beast. It can kind of make you a little bit out of phase like that. And if you remember how I portaled us down to the bottom of that elevator shaft, a bit like your bard friend's wand. It's can kind of do that too. And so the magic item in D&D Beyond is called the Dimensional Loop, but again, here we're just calling it the Loop.
And you found them separately or together?
I found them separately, but basically what I had read about was previous scholarship on the two artifacts, noting when I found the one, it was noted that there was a corresponding artifact that interfaced with it. So I sought the two of them out. And once it was clear that they were still incomplete, I began looking for anything I could find about what the further assembly would be. I don't know what it would ultimately make, but I did find the list of the other pieces. There's also a chronometer, a rotor, a wheel, and a lever. And you might find this interesting. That book that I found that list in was also the book that taught me about Diniter.
So, chronometer, wheel, lever, I know.
And rotor.
The
Rotor.
rotor, yeah.
And Vertigo would explain, without explaining where the explanation comes from, but it seems rather obvious in some ways.
Yeah, it says, I know I no longer have the ability to direct your actions or even this conversation. But if you did wish to find the other pieces and assemble the completed machine, I would certainly be interested in that. You would have my enthusiastic support.
It might prove useful, especially if it's somehow connected to Dinethir. This book, was it with you?
No. It was destroyed.
Shame.
Well, it depends on who you ask. I got to read it first, and now nobody can read it after me.
There is something appealing to that. These trinkets are part of a larger whole. Powerful on their own, but perhaps more powerful with the rest. Somehow tied even to the origins of Dinethir, or to someone who knew of Dinethir. Rupino, do you recognize these pieces?
He at first kind of takes like a cursory glance and is just saying, no, I don't think so. I mean, it's a rather rudimentary. Oh, wait a minute. And he kind of fits them together and he's like looking at it and he's like, huh. Well, it's definitely not based on my work. But
Would you
it's
say it's
clear.
older?
Hard to say. I don't really think I've seen anyone else making anything quite like this. But if it is older, I have no idea who would have made it. It's clearly these two things are quite powerful on their own. So I feel like whatever they make, I'm guessing. Do you give him the list of the other parts as well?
Yeah.
It's like, well, just at a very basic engineering machine design sense, you've got a lot of moving pieces and then a control. You know, there's lots of things designed to, if the other pieces are as magical as these, they clearly manipulate all sorts of magical and physical forces. And then there's a lever. You know what a lever does, right? It's a simple machine, the whole point of which is to magnify force, redirect it so that motion in one direction can create a more powerful motion in another. So it is clearly a device, whatever it is, that is meant to be activated.
Vertigo will cast Detect Nightmare. Check these devices over.
Okay. You do so. You well, okay, so it's you get a little more than you expected here. The short version is, or at least the short part of what you're asking, is that these machines themselves do not appear to be, contaminated with this nightmare energy. However, you don't really especially care about that almost immediately, because what you are seeing is that all around you, in much the same way as when you were on Deneth Air, you're seeing the nightmare energy everywhere.
Is it as dense as it was there?
If anything, more so.
Is it uniform, or are there eddies or patterns or pulses or
Make
foci?
make a perception check.
Ooh, yeah, no. Looks good to me. 3.
3. It's really hard to tell. It is basically so thick that it almost feels like you've just put on welder's glasses. It's just everywhere.
Well, I have bad news and slightly good news. I'm curious as to who has a preference to either one of those.
I'm going to say bad news first.
Hmm. Are you sure?
No,
Oh, would you like to change your mind?
no.
Oh. You know that I worked on a spell a long time ago that I thought was to find the infestation of nightmare powers within people. And the more I became used to the energy I was seeing and coming to understand a bit more about its origins, well, its form, not its origins, I became more aware that it was something independent potentially of people, that it was itself as air surrounding and flowing through and becoming concentrated in some people. Well, when I did my spell in Dinethir, it produced an somewhat unexpected result. I had expected to see more concentration of the energy, especially in the people, sometimes in devices. But instead, I saw it everywhere, as thick as the air, unseen to most, unperceived, I think, to most. At least I had no idea, aside maybe from those small things. The hairs raising on the back of your neck, or the feeling of being watched, those sorts of things, but not exactly those things. Well, I went to see if these devices had been infested by nightmare energy. And the good news is, the slightly good news is, they are not. But everything else is. So
Like
far as I can tell,
us? Or the rocks or the air?
so far as I can tell, it's more like light now. It's everywhere and yet not in anything, or things are
Hmm.
too dense to see it contained. I don't know how far it spreads and whether the tears are sources or simply collections or eddies or pools, or I don't really know nature all that well. Things with water or air, I guess. I'll have to study it more, and I'll try to make patterns out of it.
Rubino says, "Gosh, I really wish I had my magic about now. I could see what you're seeing."
The strangest thing is, well, no. To use a superlative like that at this moment is somewhat untrue. When everything is set to the highest level, there is no superlative, but your magic being gone is in direct opposition to it surrounding you. If the source of your magic was indeed this power, you're not separated from it, you are walking through it. I wonder, can you still interact with things which have the magics? Either whether they are Denetherian or not.
Uh, we haven't tried, but we had magic before. We had the ability to cast spells, etc., that seems to have abandoned us.
That is perhaps your price?
Talitha says, if that is so, we pay it gladly, but I can't help but look at the situation we're all in and think that loss of our magic seems to be a drop in the bucket compared to what is happening in the world.
When our friends arrive, there are a number of smaller items, Denetherian in make. I suspect some of them, perhaps all of them, came from your mourning museum. Perhaps if you can interface with one of them, if you can try it, at least to see if you still have that capacity.
Wouldn't hurt to try. But I have to say, as much as this feels partly like some sort of abdication, and I do fear for what will come next, but I would be dishonest if I said that it wasn't somewhat of a relief to be free of it.
I'd like to think that this entire time, Trendanel and I are like over in the corner,
Yeah?
like, sword fighting like children. Like we just like whatever. The world is ending. Let's have
Sure.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
And like not even paying attention to any of this. I like turn into a shadow sometimes, try to elude him. You know, just having
Yeah, I
moment.
think I think there was some point in that conversation between Vertigo and Rupino where it was getting extremely arcane and jargony, and yeah, he just kind of like, well, kind of stands up and says, "All right, I'm off to do something else." But yeah, so I think that's fine. So I'm going to encourage us to sort of fade from this conversation, though, and let time pass until I think towards sunset of the next day here. You see on the horizon the familiar silhouette of Sunia Diun Torbella, the flying castle of your acquaintance, and I think there is it knows just where to land in because it's been here before, this whole little region, and you know, as it settles down, you are all able to sort of come aboard.
First thing I do, I run inside and I hug one of the pillars.
I was gonna say the same exact thing.
Oh my gosh, I missed you guys so much.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
Oh,
There's been so much crazy stuff happening, but we could only imagine that it's been as crazy or worse wherever you are. So, we've been worried about you and just trying to figure out what's going on. I know Brennan and Yobert have a lot to tell you, and Sorashana wanted to talk to you too. I think Yobert told you.
So where
Yes.
is everyone?
Oh, they're come on. Yeah, they're just waiting for you inside.
do we bring? Oh, Can they come outside? Did we find a way to get them out? Like, do we
Oh
bring
yeah,
them
no,
with
you
us?
Yeah.
brought them out.
Yeah,
You brought
we're
them
They've been
outside.
sitting on
Yeah.
the beach.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I was just assuming you're bringing them with you. I mean, you tell me if
Yeah.
you're going to just leave them on the beach.
You
That's
guys stay here.
Bye,
We've
Rubino.
got some stuff to do.
We're busy.
Here's
See
some
you
more
later.
sandwiches. That
This
should
is
be a happy
Exile
day.
Island. Yeah. So yeah, I think you bring them aboard, and you know they're you know Tillith and Trandonell are acting polite and respectful like guests, and Rupino is just really kind of like you know you know not accessing assessing the castle, and kind of like, huh, yeah, okay, not how I would have done it, but that's good, that sort of thing. So I think you're brought in to where you see several of your friends. Sequential is there, and Brennan and Yobert are there. Yobert is in his fancy little automated chair that Sequential has made for him, that he's getting around pretty well in, and they all greet you, and I think there's hugs all around. And Sorashana is kind of sitting in the corner with her mask down, and she looks up at all of you, and I think she comes in and she takes a moment through the mask, staring each of you like for a few seconds in the face, and then moving on to the next one. And then she stands back, oddly formal, and says, what is it? I wrote it down so I could say it just right. Now I can't find anything. Okay.
That kind of sounds like
Yeah.
Sorashana, actually.
Kosh says you must examine yourselves in a mirror, and once you see it, you must find him in the realm of dream. And then she runs out of the room. And Yobert says, she said she wanted to talk to you. I rather thought it was going to be more involved than that, but she has been in contact with her counterpart, I suppose, more in the last day or so since everything has been happening.
She said we have to look in a mirror. Any mirror or a special mirror?
I'm not aware of any specific special mirrors.
I mean, we have one specific mirror, but don't stare into that one.
Don't, no.
Didn't we break that or something? Like when we
We
were
just
trying
left
to
it here,
trap
I
No, we
something?
left it here.
Yeah.
I thought we took it with us to trap that weird armored dragon.
No, I don't think we actually took it.
I think
We
numerous
left it
times
because
we
it's
said,
too big.
geez, wouldn't it be nice to have that mirror with
Yeah.
us? We just never did.
Yeah. Well, it's not easy to just carry around.
Yeah.
It's like it's bulky. I mean, we certainly have ordinary mirrors. I am a little bit flummoxed that we are immediately talking about mirrors instead of all of the rest of what's going on. It sounded like as though you've had some direct connection to everything that seems to be happening now. My understanding is that some of my sources say that there have been scries on the Eastern Ocean, and that the island we believed hidden there has been spotted.
So before Vertigo jumps in with all his probably very technical explanations of everything, I will start in with my bardic explanation of kind of what happened. Just like a condensed overview of it.
Right. So I think you get through that, and they're kind of taking that in, and says, well, I suppose fair to return the favor. When you left Pashan, we were a little concerned about tensions in the city, given the Emperor's assassination. However, there has been, there's been so much happened. Did you leave before or after all of the new paladins and clerics showed up?
I think we caught the very beginning of that.
Indeed, yes, in a fashion that has, as far as I understand, never been precedented in known history. Empress Solomonia of Mount Celestia has chosen to act upon the material plane in a way unheard of. She has empowered dozens and dozens of new paladins and clerics, giving them extraordinary powers, which I must say, as much as it was surprising and perhaps disconcerting to have them all show up in such an extreme display of power, there's no question that they have been of tremendous help since all of these tears began to open and monsters came out. They have been defending the city most vigilantly. And to that extent, Pashan currently is in much better shape than many other places in Sekamian at the moment.
They did not spread out to other parts beyond Pashan?
Well, they have been tasked with defending Pashan.
She did not call up any other clerics or paladins from elsewhere.
As far as we understand, that has not been the case. She has focused her energies on Pashan. And at present, there has still not been any specific replacement of the emperor. An heir has not been declared, but it seems increasingly likely, as things trend today, that we are about to become a theocracy. The timing of manifesting an army just in time to successfully defend us against extraplanar monsters has not gone unnoticed in the populace, and by and large, people are extraordinarily grateful for the defenses she is providing.
What? I'm trying to understand how this benefits her. Because everything Lynn has told me about these heroes of legend, I have a feeling that
She's
by
increasing
ever,
her reach.
yeah,
Just
like
for
she
the
just wants
sake
to
of increasing
become.
it.
But what if it's because she wants to become the only god? I might have to commune.
Well, I would not wish to speculate on the motives of an archfey turned deity, but the facts certainly are that she has increased her power and influence in Pashan dramatically, but as a direct consequence, we have largely been kept safe from the invasion in ways that many other cities are in varying degrees of chaos. They have called together a conference, but there has not been much time for that to occur yet. But they have invited representatives from the elves of Farusha, the dwarves of the Barrier Mountains, representatives from Villanocta, and my understanding is that even Emirate Arboris is seeing these incursions.
What about Mount Roshama?
So the elves of Farusha are that's the elves that live on Mount Roshama.
Okay.
Yeah. So in that sense, they're kind of they're from Roshama.
You'd think I'd know that.
Well, I think you would. That's why I'm filling it in. I'm not doing it in your bear
Okay.
voice.
Thank you.
Yes. So things are not calm, but under control at the moment, though who has their hands on those controls is not us. The friend of the emperor has been quiet. One can only suspect he continues to work behind the scenes.
Well, he did lose a friend.
Yep.
Indeed.
Maybe we could try to reach out.
One other question. Have you all been having dreams since whatever happened?
Intentional ones. At least in my case.
The frequency of nightmares seems to have increased dramatically in the last couple of days. I can only vouch for myself as having had some terribly frightening ones the last 2 nights.
Was this
That's
similar to
not
what
good.
you
And I
experienced,
think
Talitha?
Rupino basically just says, like, oh, well, they've been sleeping in my tower.
We were sleeping in the Feywild. We didn't sleep in the tower, though I wanted to.
Well, was the Feywild protected in some way?
Probably, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, the Princess of Dreams is trying to hold fast.
Mm-hmm.
The entire realm of dreams is being invaded. So it's not surprising that mundane dreams are also.
And I think Vertigo will cast deliberately Detect Nightmare, seeing all of them here, just to make sure they haven't gotten deeper infections.
I mean, it's the same.
Yeah.
It seems like it's everywhere.
And it's not, but no more concentrated than them, like we had seen before, right?
Well, it's hard to tell. The density everywhere is so intense that like it's hard to even really distinguish where it is.
More like smoke, I suppose.
Yeah.
Thick smoke. Okay.
I mean, because this is sort of an extra sense, it's not literally in your eyes, right? You know, you can still see visibly, but if you were to be closing your eyes and trying to only perceive through that sense, it's just like in a fog. Although, let's see, make a perception check, Vertigo.
Sure, it looks fine to me.
Yeah.
12. An
12
average.
is a little better. Yeah, I think 12 is not enough that you determine anything new in this regard. But
Your tower, Rupino, has additional protections against dream invasion?
well, yes. I mean, it's its own little demi-plane. It's, you know, it's completely isolated from any other plane.
Then might I suggest that most of us should sleep inside there?
What is it that you're trying to see, Vertigo? Like, is there something, like, maybe I could help?
I'm not sure what I'm trying to find, which is the worst kind of thing to try to find. I'm concerned as to the nature of this smog, but I can find no edges to it that make sense.
Would I have to cast Detect Nightmare before I can do that?
I think, yeah, to see what he's seeing, essentially. But
Okay.
make an insight check, Zayleen. 12. Okay.
12.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you have a gut feeling that there's something more to this, but you're not
Okay.
sure what.
I will cast Detect Nightmare because I didn't
Okay.
prep my spells yet for today, so I can add that.
Sure.
Um,
I don't think that you had cast it yourself when you were in Dinner there, right? You'd kind of just been letting Vertigo cast it and taking his word for it, or did you?
I don't think I did, no.
So I think you're probably kind of overwhelmed then, because, you know, for Vertigo, it's like, it's basically it's similar to what he saw before. But what you are seeing basically through this mental depiction this magical sense is it's everywhere. It's denser than you have ever seen it everywhere.
Mm,
But you can make a perception check as well.
okay.
I keep forgetting I can actually redo things.
Reroll, you mean?
Oh my god!
So with your plus 11, you got a natural 1, which makes a 12, which is the same
I don't even.
number that Vertigo got.
I don't even see the nightmares. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
stupid. You're just fibbing.
Well, I think it's in this case it's more along the lines of like it's like just being in a blank fog. You know, it's completely dark. You can't really make any distinctions at all about it.
It will
Sorry.
require more study, I think.
Yeah. I might be able to help more later, like if you want to try to blend our brains, maybe. But for now, I see nothing.
Are you able
Um,
to sense thoughts?
No, that's your thing.
I have a difficulty sharing them. Other than,
And in your head,
with telepathy, of course,
and then switches back to voice.
but that's just as hard to explain with the word thoughts.
Yobert, no, actually, I think Sequential, looks at all of you and just says, "You're looking for something, right? You're looking at all of us and around and at yourselves, like Sorashana said to look at yourselves in a mirror."
That is a valid point.
I mean, I'm just saying stuff like I'm just looking for clues.
All right, so back to looking for a mirror that's
Oh,
big
sure.
enough.
They have they go into Yobert's room and he has like a dressing mirror that Brennan brings out, and I'm assuming that both Vertigo and Zaleen still have the spell up because it hasn't been that long.
It lasts for 10 minutes.
Yeah. As soon as you're looking in the mirror, it's striking because what you see in the mirror is that there is not nightmare energy everywhere, but that it is emanating from all of you like smoke out of an exhaust pipe.
Just the 4 of us.
Yeah.
Well, it's more clear.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say it's just from the 4 of you, I mean to say that it doesn't seem to be coming from everywhere else, but you're literally like leaving trails of it behind you as you move.
Blinded by ourselves. How academic.
But I thought we did the thing with the pipe and we pulled the nightmares out. I thought we did that like a long time ago.
We did a long
But
time
we
ago.
also, like,
Before we went to Dynasty.
just steeped ourselves in
In more of
pure.
it.
Yeah.
I
You
would
just
suggest
see Lynn
perhaps
just doing this. Like,
using the pipe, but not in here. Outside, where we can face whatever emerges from the effect.
All right.
One at a time.
Oh yeah.
But Sorashana said that we should go to the plane of dream.
and
speak to
I feel
Kosh.
like this is different than just having a nightmare in our heads. We seem to be some kind of source.
Like, I will look directly over at Vertigo with not looking in the mirror.
Yeah, and it's the same as it was before, unless you're looking in the mirror, and then only in the mirror it looks different.
Well then,
I'm gonna run out of the room. I'm going to Shorashana like right now because this is gross. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I pressed to digitate you the whole way.
You almost run right by her because as soon as you open the door to like follow where she went, you see that she's kind of just sat against the a wall on the right, just on the other side of the, like, not like leaning against the door, but next to the doorway. And she has her mask, up on the, like, the top of her head, and you can see that her eyes are red, like she hasn't been sleeping well, or maybe she's been crying. But she looks up at you and she says, "Did you see it?"
How do we talk to Kosh?
Plane of dreams. Do we want to dream, or do we want to
It's-
go there?
I've never told anyone else how to do it before. You just try. And then after the brief awkward silence, she puts her mask back down.
We have
Okay.
options.
I'm going to go upstairs to our room
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to lay down. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to focus on talking to Kosh.
Okay. Are you trying to go to sleep?
I mean,
you certainly. I mean,
it's
like,
complicated because
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to have like active control.
right? Yeah.
Lucid dream.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, like if all you're doing is laying down and closing your eyes, but like specifically sort of trying to maintain entire control over your mental state, that doesn't sound likely that you would go to sleep. You can maybe be more like meditating, I suppose.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. All right. Make a wisdom check. Check, not saving throw.
Okay. Doesn't seem right. Where did
Yeah.
I get the +3?
She's
Oh.
wise all of a sudden. This is great. Finally, all of our problems are solved.
Is that not right?
Where did that come from?
Oh, is that
Do you
not
have an
your
item?
No.
Did you
I
get
have
something like
plus
when you
0.
leveled up?
No, I don't think so. Even my sheet says +0.
Huh.
Do
Okay.
you
So
have like something equipped recently?
I don't think so.
Did you
I've
drink
got
anything
the
recently?
I've got the Vidunme deck, the wand, the mandolin, and the armor.
all right. Well, so in any case, though, even if it is a 15,
Be 12.
yeah. I think that here I'm pulling up your sheet too, just because I don't know what it would be necessarily. I mean, certainly your base wisdom doesn't seem like it would be, but oh, you know what it is it's adding your half proficiency because you're,
Oh,
you're
is
a
it?
jack of all
Okay.
trades, yeah. Because it's a wisdom check and it's not proficient, but you automatically have half proficiency in everything you're not proficient.
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So 15 it is correct. And I think that after concentrating and meditating hard on this, you think that this is not probably going to be leading to a dream. Like, it's one thing to say you think that some degree of mental control in the way that you're trying to manifest with the meditation will probably be helpful, but that if what you need to do is to meet him in a dream, you do have to be dreaming.
I think Vertigo has that spell, so gonna have to go find him now.
But the sleep spell?
Yeah. I feel like that's
Would that, for me, because I can't be magically put to sleep. Like,
Yeah.
could I just say, yeah, I'm going for it and just wave that? Or
Well, so I think that you certainly have experienced visions of a sort while in your restful trance.
okay,
And you don't know that it's exactly the same, but you know that elves in general are not, you know, entirely disconnected from the plane of dream. It just sort of manifests differently.
Okay.
As nice as it would be, perhaps, for us to have a rest.
You actually probably would have a more specific control over it because going into the trance is sort of a deliberate step that you take.
Plane of
Okay.
Dream is not a safe place right now. And if we were to venture there in our most vulnerable forms, I would be concerned. But we can simply go there. The trouble is getting back.
Well, the dragon is there.
As is much, much more.
Also, the dragon is
mean-
specifically not there. You saw it come out of one of the tears.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
It's just one of them. There's like a dozen, I'm sure.
so
That's the
maybe
little
because yeah, maybe there's like a bunch of them. Who knows?
one. That was just a baby.
Maybe we would be safer to try to go there in our sleep or in dream than going there physically right now because we would have people here to at least watch over our bodies.
Our bodies are less at danger.
You can try it on me.
I would putting you to sleep.
It's
Could
not
just go
something
to
I
sleep.
It's not something that I prepared for today, but ironically, I may be able to call upon certain powers to make it manifest. But
Let me
you're
think.
tougher than usual.
I'm trying to decide what the stat base for like the attacks and stuff for the dream.
Oh, like what?
Then
What do you roll for
yeah.
attack if you're dreaming?
Yeah, because well, like which one of us is going to be the best equipped, like have the greatest chance of success, basically.
She just said probably me because I
Well,
do that.
you
Well,
at the
yeah,
very
like
least
going
have
in.
the ability. You have probably a more conscious control over entering it, but not necessarily the same thing as saying within the dream.
Right.
She did specifically look at all four of you though before making the pronouncement.
I think we all have to go, but we have people here that'll keep watch, right?
Well, that's good. Yep.
Brennan
And-
says, yeah, we can do that easy enough."
Can you wake us up quickly? Like, is that a thing that we could arrange?
He holds up a bucket of cold water.
Well,
Yeah, he's
if we're
always
going to
prepared
do
with
like
a
a
thing on hand.
magically induced sleep, does that work?
This is sleepy magic. I mean,
No, we can
You
just
just
go to
were-
sleep. But
yeah, we could just go to sleep. We had this similar thing happen when we got drawn into the adversary's crazy nightmare. I mean, we all went to sleep or to rest, and we all woke up in that weird place. So it's
With
just
any
a matter
luck-
of
well, with any luck, we have two things that can be helping us on the other side. The Princess of Dream, while is very busy, might still be able to lend some power, and if Kosh exists there and is looking for us, but it is a risk. I have no particular powers to make someone sleep today.
It is towards the evening.
Although, it would be nice to have a softer bed for a little while.
Well, don't get comfortable. Well, wait, yes.
your
Get
body can
comfortable.
totally get
Sleep.
comfortable.
Don't get used to it.
I don't think we're ever going to get used to comfort again.
Well said, brother.
Spoiler,
Alright.
it's actually really easy to get used to comfort.
Yeah, it is.
Happens almost immediately. Anyway,
Interesting. Bed's a mimic.
yeah. I think Talitha says, I know herbs that could, guide you to sleep, but I don't know that you necessarily want to be chemically rendered asleep rather than natural. I don't know necessarily how all this works, but I sort of do anticipate some degree of danger, even if you are physically still just resting in your bed.
Anything that might prevent us from coming back quickly, anything that would cloud that barrier, would not be an aid, I'm afraid.
Sequential says, yes, and as we all know from Inception, if you can't wake up because of the chemicals, you go down to limbo forever. Anyway, he doesn't actually say that. But
What's
he would.
Inventory,
Inception?
add
Yeah.
a top. Add a spinning top
Yeah.
to my inventory.
So in any case, though, I think if the plan is to just kind of all get comfortable and just try to see if you can all sort of nod off and have everyone else watching for you.
You stop watching. This is creepy.
I just imagine everybody standing over us while we're
You
all
can't
like
do
trying
it
to
if
go
you're
to sleep.
watching.
Yeah.
Are they
So
asleep?
I do think that is kind of an interesting question is, what do you roll to try to go to sleep?
Exhaustion. Can we get a level of exhaustion?
A bedroll.
Oh,
Uh,
well timed. Well timed.
Well done.
maybe
Inspiration for Paul.
maybe survival.
Yeah. I think a
Or
wisdom-based
could
thing
just
generally.
spend some time like
Yeah.
expending some energy and
I just think
I don't know,
it's kind of funny
deep
to
cleaning
imagine
the
it like a
castle.
race. I think the truth is that you all find as soon as you kind of like letting yourself try to relax, I think there's some anticipation of what is going to happen, and that anxiety could potentially keep you awake. But I think as soon as you're all sort of like letting yourselves physically rest, you really do find the sleep kind of coming to overtake you. And with that, I'm going to put you all on a map. If I can get it to... Okay. Let me put you on this map. Okay, so you should all be seeing a map, and you are currently at the very bottom
That's a
of this
big map.
map. Yes, and so what you sort of...
Ooh.
There's a moment where you
Ooh.
all sort of... You're not quite sure how you got here, but you are standing on a blasted, rocky landscape that seems to be sort of just floating in space. There's a starry sky above you with no hint of any kind of clouds. The air kind of feels thin, and the stars are moving strangely as though somehow the ground you stand on is not as solid, or as though you're maybe on just some chunk of rock floating in space. And sure enough, as you stand there and watch, the sun seems to rise in the distance, looking very small compared to what you're used to, and yet turn and go all the way across the sky in just a few seconds, and then it gets dark again. And as it gets dark, it gets cold. And then after a few seconds, it comes around again. And you are seeing all of this happening, looking off at these rocky crater landscape. You see ahead of you, at the far side of this little sort of blasted plain, you see an enormous temple gate of some kind with a huge doorway that has a bunch of like ropes and strange little charms strewn all over it that are blocking what looks to be a fiery portal. You also see a shooting star seem to fly in and impact about 60 feet ahead of you, leaving a small crater as after this detonation. And as soon as the debris settles, you see a glowing chunk of some kind of a spectral iridescent rock and strange little creatures, winged creatures, small creatures with elongated faces and long fingers and arms and legs, spindly, crawling out from various little crevices and hurrying over to swarm over this strange bit of iridescent rock.
Wow.
What would you like to do?
What do we look like?
You look like yourselves.
Okay.
Well, okay,
Just-
how about this? You tell me what you look like.
Because this is the plane of dream, and this is our dream self, I'm assuming.
Correct. Yes. So, as just a fun opportunity here, you tell me, what does your dream self look like, each of you?
I think that would be tough for Lynn because she can literally look like whoever. So I probably don't look any different.
That's fine. Are you dressed the same?
Maybe a little shinier. Like the armor has recently seen a polish or something like that. But
I'm curious as to what Zaleen and Zin's.
I think that Zaleen looks like a bird, like a corvidae of type, like kind of like a kenku, but not. Like she's like a raven, but she's still her, like very much her.
Zinhorn looks mostly the same, except his features are much more human on his face, and he has a big, bright smile, very inviting and very warm.
I think that when you look at Vertigo's direction, what you see is something that's not solid. It's like you're watching a film which is degrading, and you're seeing after images in different directions that move in different directions and snap back to the central form, but move as if doing different things at the same time. Each one of those has a slightly different outline. One looks like it's in a simple robe. The other looks like it's in very fancy clothes. And the third one is somewhere between the two, where the clothes have simplified, but there is a sort of refined manner to them. There's very little detail, though. And throughout all of that, the one constant is the sort of silvery glow in the center of his irises, which recently kind of increased somewhat.
Nice. So, as you're kind of all getting your bearings, you see that these various creatures have kind of like torn to pieces whatever that glowing rock was, and each kind of separated out to kind of, they seem like, it's hard to tell at this distance, but they seem like they're maybe eating whatever it is. They've each got chunks.
there's a path, right?
Of sorts. It's seen better days, it would look like.
Well, I don't think it's a good idea to, stand out here in the open, um, in case any more of those shooting stars, you know.
Well,
I mean,
land
I'm
on
just looking
us.
at the evidence here. This is not the first time it's happened.
Yep.
So maybe we should move along?
All
Um,
right. If,
make a wisdom saving throw, Lynn.
Oh
Why?
dear.
Yeah.
Not
15.
too bad.
Yeah, so
15.
you briefly feel as though the ground is strangely like gooey and sinking away from your feet, making it impossible to like walk or move forward, but you just kind of concentrate your will and are able to make it stop and keep moving.
Um,
I'm gonna give those little crawly thingies a wide berth.
All right.
I, I'm, I'm surprised it feels as solid as it does. But this place is, problematic. I'm not sure, but I'm going to try to summon some of my magic to help.
Okay.
And I seem to recall from the last time we had an experience in Dream, way back when we were chasing cankers. It was mind based. It wasn't physically based.
I don't remember exactly how we did it, but I think for tonight we're gonna leave all of the mechanical stuff the same way it usually works.
Okay. Well, that's how he thinks anyway. So he's going to attempt to cast a spell and see if it works.
Sure.
There are 4 of us in total. So it makes it a 6th level spell to cast Intellect Fortress.
Okay. First, make your own wisdom saving throw.
Is it magical in nature?
No.
Okay. 23.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you are able to. I think at first, as you're sort of hesitant, like, is this spell going to work? What if it, if it's a dream? What if it works differently somehow? And I think there's a moment where you recognize that that very anxiety, that very questioning, threatens to sort of spiral out and begin to unravel your magic even before you cast it. But even as you recognize that that starts to happen, you sort of collect your thoughts and you realize it will work the way you expect if you make it work that way. And you do. And it does.
I've always hoped that mind was the ultimate conqueror. Hopefully this helps.
So, Intellect Fortress, I believe, gives everyone resistance to psychic damage and advantage on wisdom, intelligence, and charisma saving
Yep.
throws? Yeah. All right. So, as you're walking, though, as you start kind of moving, once again, this sun seems to be rising and setting at just incredible speed. Several times a minute, it will completely make an entire circle. And every time it goes down, you find the air getting sort of chilly and frigid and still. And then once it rises again, you feel sort of a wind, and here and there you see another collapse or like another crash of an impact from one of these rocks. And once again, all the creatures kind of like hurry and swarm all over it. And I think after this happens a couple of times, you sort of note that it seems to only happen when this sun is up. So
There are possible interpretations based off religious significance, but I'm not sure if it's more of an interplay of the internal dialogues confused between multiple people or whether it's a construct of this place. Time also may have no meaning.
Might, maybe. So I think as you kind of start to move forward a little bit, Zinhorn, as you are, getting a little closer to one of these little creatures who's perched on this little chunk of stone, he's holding a little sort of grapefruit sized chunk of whatever those glowing rocks was. And he sees you approaching and kind of like gets into a wary position, holding it back from you. But I think even as you're that close, you watch, and as he goes to take another bite, what he seems to be pulling away just for an instant seems to resemble like a tiny humanoid, like spectral shape that seems to be sighing with happiness, but then as he pulls it free from the rock, it there's just a brief like a scream, and then it's cut off. And then the creature kind of looks at you, takes another bite.
Did anyone else see that?
Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I do not like that. That is not okay.
Okay. Um, uh, y'all ready for a fight? Cause I'm going
Huh.
in.
Maybe we should see what's going on first before we actually do anything, because there's a lot of these guys, and I don't know that, like, I don't like what's going on, but we need to figure out what exactly is happening before we try to do something about it.
Okay.
Everyone make a dexterity saving throw. Got a 16, 20, 18, 9. Zaylene's the lucky winner here. All of you suddenly hear like this whooshing sound, and you realize that one of these sort of asteroids, or I guess meteors in this case, is headed like right for you. And three of you jump successfully out of the way, but Zaylene, you are not struck directly, but it hits near enough to you that you're going to take 26 force damage. And one of as this another one of these things just sort of collides and makes a crater right next to you, sort of blasting you back and away. And then all of a sudden, all of these little creatures are sort of hungrily looking in this direction and beginning to crawl over this way to, to tear apart this new target.
Oh, I want to run and get it. Get it, get it, get it.
I mean, the whole big thing is like, it's like the size of a mailbox, maybe. Like not like a home mailbox, but I mean like one of the big blue like street ones. So it's it's maybe like sort of oblong and maybe like 4 or 5 feet tall.
Could I potentially, because this object fell from the sky
Mhm.
and harmed me, could I unleash Hellish Rebuke as these little creatures come scrambling up to it?
I don't think that works. Like theoretically,
Okay.
if you wanted to unleash it against it as an object, you could do
Right.
that. But the creatures really don't have anything to do with it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
no, I was just saying, like, I would wait until they got there.
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, like, I think the nature of that magic is really specifically, like, I'm hurting you for hurting me. So I don't think you can really hurt a creature who didn't hurt you with that spell. But they do seem like they're, some of them are looking at you being so close as though that means you're competition. And assuming nobody interferes, they definitely are starting to all, like,
Is this something, because I'm wondering if this is an object. Could Bigby's hand grab this? Is what I'm wondering.
I mean, it does seem to be a physical object, if that's what you mean.
Then I want to do that. I want to grab it. Like
Okay.
I was really disturbed by the description of what was
Yeah,
happening with
uh-huh.
it's not okay. So yeah, I want to cast Bigby's hand and I want to
Okay.
grab
Yeah.
that.
So you cast Bigby's hand. I have one of those hands. Uh, where is it? Come on. I have the little icons that I've used before, and I just need to. It's searching for them very slowly for some reason. But wow. Okay. Yeah. It's just really okay. We've got. Let's see. Grasping hand is the one you're doing, probably.
That seems likely.
All right.
Yeah, because that's the one I think that grapples. Yeah.
Yeah. So check this little hand. Why is it not doing? It looks translucent for some reason, whereas the others are not.
Oh, it's animated. That's so cool.
Yeah. You know what? Let me. There's a better one. Let's just. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you've grabbed that, and are you just like having it like lift, like yank it away from the little creatures?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm gonna transport it, take it with.
Okay. So they basically hiss and snarl as you yank it away, and they sort of like hurry to kind of come after it. One of them sort of leaps up and like snatches at it, and I'll say you could kind of keep it away from them from the moment, but they look at you and they're kind of advancing menacingly, and then just saying, "What do you think you're doing? That doesn't belong to you. You can't do nothing with it anyway. Give that back right now, or else we're gonna take it from you."
Doesn't belong to you either.
What are you even talking about? You don't even what? You're just a dreamer. You don't know that's all about. We're only eating sweet ones.
Not this one.
Well, I don't think you get to just decide that. That doesn't belong to you. It's not yours.
I don't think it belongs to you either. So, first come, first serve. Bye.
That was us. We were there first. We were here first. You're interlopers. Listen,
Still taking it.
there's more of us than there are of you. If you make us, we're gonna take it from you. You got one more chance. All right, roll initiative. All right. Let's see. Come on. Where is... Okay. Where is my thing for them? Okay. I turned off the... That's what it was. I turned off the little extension that let me roll from D&D Beyond. There we go. Okay. I didn't... Okay. It's going to be 8. So, does everyone else need me to like add them to as a turn? You should be able to do it yourself, but
Yeah, I'm sorry.
that's okay. I can do it for you if you need, but like in theory, you should be able to do it yourself.
I'm not on the turn
I'm
tracker.
not
Okay.
able to
All right.
add myself
Okay.
to the tracker.
So we have gone over this many times before. It's absolutely fine. I cannot conceive of any possible reason why you shouldn't be able to add yourselves to the turn tracker. There is 100% functionality for that. I've done it myself before as a player, but I can also do it for you. It's fine. So here we are. I'm going to move your that you had the hand and move the thing a little bit away. For Pete's sake. And they were following. And you're getting a couple more from further away moving in. Okay, so we've got everybody on there. So, Lynn, you are up first.
Okay. So I believe that is a concentration spell, if I remember correctly.
It is.
So, you think? Guess I'm just gonna go with freezing spears.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will target that one, and that one. So
Okay.
these three guys.
All right.
Um,
Go ahead and roll to hit.
yeah. Did it go? There you are. Okay.
All right. Well, a critical miss will miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 17 would be a hit and 19 would be a hit. So the first one goes wide, and then the other two, you watch as they are dead on target, and then it just goes right through them to apparently no effect. And they look at you and go, "You don't know what you're messing with, lady." All right.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna keep moving.
Sure. Yeah. Where are you moving? And I think you have to use either like an action or a bonus action to move the hand.
Yeah, I believe so. Scroll down to the spell again. 5th level. Yeah,
Okay. So
bonus action.
Okay.
Up to 60 feet.
All right. So go ahead and move the here I can give you control over that token. And
There we go.
Mhm.
1, 2,
I can move.
5, 6.
I can't give you control over the little shape, but I can move it to wherever you put the hand.
That's 55, 60. There.
All right.
You can use it to attack too, can't you, on your bonus action?
Yeah, but it's carrying the hand, the
Oh, that's
shiny bit.
Yeah.
right.
Okay, Zinhorn, you're up.
Well, I'm gonna try something interesting. So I go here, and then I'm gonna hit both of these guys with my lightning breath.
Okay.
So it's a 15-foot cone. I think they have to roll a saving throw. So yeah, Dex 16.
You watch as they don't even try to avoid it, and then you breathe right on them, and then they just look as though it did nothing, and they laugh at you.
Okay. All right. That's my attack.
You staying right there?
I wanted to move, but that would give me an opportunity attack, and I've only
would,
got 5 movement left.
Okay. Well, tell me what you want.
All right. Let's see what happens.
Okay. As you go to move away, they do lash out with claws. You get a 24 to hit,
That will hit.
and you're going to take. It would be 8 psychic damage, but it's only 4 because of the intellect fortress.
Okay.
But you feel you don't even feel the claw. Like it seems like it just goes right through you, but somehow in passing through you, you feel like a spike of pain in your head.
Okay.
All right. Vertigo.
Hmm. And seeing the effects of the other two's attempts gives him less security. I think he's going to disengage
Okay.
and move a very small distance. Let's see here. What's the what can I get? I think that's about as far away from any of them as I can get.
All right.
I think that's it.
Okay. Celine.
Okay, so there are 3 of them, like right here.
Yeah, well, so there's one right here.
Okay,
One right here.
but there's
Yeah.
3.
Yes. Yeah.
And then these 3. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so
And there are others, like, on the map, broadly speaking, but those are the ones that seem to be in the immediate area.
Okay, I'm gonna move over here just a little bit so that I'm not like right there, and I'm gonna cast Banishment at level um, at level 6, so that I can try to banish all 3 of those and
Does
see what happens.
banishment upcast that way?
Yes, it does.
Uh-huh. Interesting. You feel the spell dissipate because there is nothing for it to target.
Okay. All right then.
Yeah, so like you cast out the spell, but you, as you would normally watch it sort of hone in and focus on your target, it just seems like it can't actually connect to anything.
All right, I'm gonna use my free bonus action to be like, you're not even real. And that's my turn.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
one of them, I think one of them is going to fly up to you and say, "Real enough to do this, sweetheart," and he's going to bite and claw at you. That's a critical fail with the claw. And then a 9 for the bite, and then I think he just badly misses on both, and he just says, "Well, that's embarrassing. I was doing a whole thing."
It's because you're not even real.
Meanwhile, Lynn, the rest of these are coming after you because you are the one that initially antagonized them and are controlling the thing. So they're all 3 attacking you. So first bite is a 20 to hit.
Yep.
And you would take 8 psychic damage, but instead you'll take 4.
So how does it work? Like, is it possible to have a double resistance or no?
Not in this case. I think does the Intellect Fortress spell say anything about it? Because there are some effects where if you already have resistance, then it becomes immunity. I don't think this is one of those. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark.
Just grants resistance.
Yeah, so I think it doesn't stack, unfortunately.
Okay, that's
but
fine. I
so
was
the
just
second
curious.
attack would have been a 12 to hit, which I think misses.
Misses.
You get a 16 to hit for a second bite.
Nope.
Then a 15 on the claw.
Nope.
A 20 to hit on another bite
Yes.
for would be 18 psychic damage, but instead it'll be 9.
8.
And then a 14 on the claw. And then this guy over here is flying up here to try to he lands on the thing as it's being held by the the hand, and so does this one up here, and they're both trying to like pull pieces off of it, even though the hand's holding it. Okay, Lynn, that's you're up. Like these things do seem like, even though only one of them managed to apparently connect, you really didn't feel it physically at all, but it did still hurt.
Okay. So we're gonna try. I'm gonna try Mind Sliver.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
All right.
So that's a intelligence saving throw, 18.
I think that as with Zalene's banish, your spell just can't find anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to keep moving.
Mhm.
It's gonna provoke an opportunity attack, I assume, but what?
Yeah. 3 of them, in fact, because there's
6.
3 around you. So,
All right.
got an 18 to hit
Yep, that'll hit.
for. It would be 7, so instead it'll be 3. The second one is. Why is it not rolling? Come on. Okay, it's decided to stop rolling for a second for some reason. Okay, so a 14 to hit.
Nope.
And then the third one is 20 to hit.
Yep.
For it would be 14, so instead it's 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
And you definitely recognize that, like, what's hurting is your, like, it feels like what you imagine your Mind Sliver spell would feel like to be targeted by. Like, that's more like what it feels like when they claw you. They seem like they're physically clawing you, but what you feel is that psychic damage.
is it possible? I don't even know if there's like, could I use the bonus action to shake Bigby's hand to try to shake these things off? Is that
Sure. Basically, I'll have you make a contested strength check.
okay?
Yeah.
Strength check. And a
They're
plus
not
0,
very
so
strong.
neither am I.
Yeah. Well, no,
Oh,
use
wait,
the
it's
hands.
probably against the hand,
Yeah,
right, yeah.
it is against the hand.
Remember that
Although
one.
they ended up rolling a 1 and a 4. So, like, yeah, I think the hand is easily able to just sort of shake them off, and they tumble off of it, but also look like they're not done.
Yeah, probably can't move it since I shook them off, right?
Well, no, you can. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 5 feet, so another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Yeah, that's 60.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I will, at this point, given that it's happened enough times, let anybody who wants to use their action to try to make a check to sort of figure out what the deal is with these things. All right. So tell me what check you would like to be trying in order to try to understand what's happening, Zinhorn. You're muted. We don't hear you right
There
now.
we go.
Oh, there
Yes.
you go. Yeah. All right.
Perception or insight?
I mean, I think either of those is fine. It's basically just going to flavor what I tell you, depending on what skill you're
Okay.
using.
I'll go for perception.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty high, 22. You definitely notice, looking at these things, that they don't seem to disturb the ground where they're walking. And you would be almost inclined to assume that they're illusions, except for the fact that they did hurt you when they attacked. And they did seem able to pull pieces off of whatever that rock is. However, their insubstantial or selectively insubstantial nature seems like it's probably a waste of time to try continuing any sort of attacks on them here. However, you get a sense looking at all of them like they keep all kind of glancing back up towards the like that temple gate. Like there's something there. They're kind of sort of trying to always be aware of how far away from it they are.
Okay. All right. I think they're afraid of something at the temple. Let's just make a run for it. Like, that's what I tell my companions.
All right, sure. So you can still move. You just needed to use your action there.
All right, so I'm gonna dash.
Okay. Well, you can't dash because you used your action,
Oh,
but you can move.
all right.
Mhm.
That's my turn.
Okay. Vertigo.
Um. Okay. Oh, no. Sorry, I just have to look something up for a spell because I
Okay,
realize it
yeah,
might work differently than I
that's fine.
thought. But yeah, he's kind of looking between them, calculating the distance, and target self only. Okay. And is going to try to. Yeah. So where do they go from here? Ugh. I think just take the dash action
Okay.
and then try to.
You can maybe go far enough around those guys to not take opportunity attacks.
Well, that's
or...
the route that
yeah.
I'm
All right.
plotting. That's 50.
Okay.
And then for a bonus action, I'll cast Misty Step
All right.
because I'm not very fast.
Sure.
And that's another 30 feet
Mm-hmm.
to get just ahead of my companions.
Okay. All right. That was okay. So, Zaleen, your turn.
So I'm gonna I'm gonna get attacked, but
Mhm.
I am also going to go.
Got a 24 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Yeah, for it. Wow. Okay. It would be 21, but it'll be 10 psychic damage.
Okay. So I'm going to move here,
Okay.
and I used my dash action.
Great.
too. So-
Okay. So it is their turn. Let's see, 2, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I think these are all swarming around Lynn because she's still the one controlling the hand. This one is going after the stone, and as they're swarming around you now, Lynn, they're yelling at you. They're talking over each other. It's just like, you can't even do anything with it. What do you even want? What are you just what are you bothering us for? We're just doing our thing. But they're gonna actually, a couple of those needed to dash to get to you, but 2 of them are able to attack. That's a 13 to hit, a 9 to hit,
Nope.
a 17 to hit,
Yes.
and then a 16 to hit.
Nope.
Okay. So the bite that does connect would be 13, so instead it's 6 psychic damage. All right. And so they're just they're other than the
Oh.
fact that you kind of can't seem to hurt them back, they're kind of pathetic little creatures. They're attacking you, but their attitude seems almost more like a dog that you took their food bowl away than monsters.
I feel like I should have been making some concentration checks.
Oh, yes, you should have. But that's okay. Go ahead and make one right now. Because I think only one of those actually hit you.
Saving throws or checks?
It's a check. Wait, no, it is a saving throw. Constitution saving throw.
Oh, that was actually pretty good. It's a
Yeah,
19.
that's fine. Yep. Okay, so you're good for now, but yeah, good call. So yeah, these things are kind of mostly focusing on you because you're the one that's kind of taking the food, their glowing stone snack away. Your turn.
I am dashing.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna
Um,
take 4 opportunity attacks.
Yep. Let's
Yep.
see.
24, 6,
It looks like I'm
8, 7. Only one is gonna hit.
Uh.
And that would be another. It would be 12, so it's another 6 for you, and that is another Constitution saving throw.
10.
Okay. That is just enough.
Oof,
Yeah,
okay.
it's that you needed 10 or higher. Yeah.
For the for dashing, it looks like I'm right on the edge of this. So
Yeah, we don't have to worry too much about the difficult terrain right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
6 dashed.
Okay.
Okay. And let's see. If I dash, I still get a bonus action or don't?
Yeah,
I
you do
don't
still have
okay,
a
I
bonus
do.
action. Yeah.
It's been a while since I did that. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm gonna move the hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna stop it just at the base of the stairs.
Okay.
Because I feel like they don't want to get too close to this
Hmm.
shrine.
Maybe.
That's it.
All right, Zinhorn.
All right, I am dashing through the snow.
Yep. They all made their used to reactions already, so no more opportunity attacks from them.
All right, that's me.
Okay. Vertigo.
Feel like I could have cast Longstrider at one point, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So just a simple dash and grab
Mhm.
to catch just up to Zinhorn.
All right. Zaleen.
Same. I'm going to use my dash action, and I will wind up like right here.
Okay. All right. I think you're close enough. What's your passive perception?
To the heck just happened? It is 21.
21. I think as you get up this close to this strange sort of temple gate, you see in some of the shadowy spots along the base of these pillars, just in front of the gate, you see almost a dozen of what looks like these same little creatures, but like lying like asleep or unconscious.
Interesting.
Hmm. So it is their turn again, and a lot of them are, let's see, these guys, 1, 2, 3, that guy. 3, 4, and then these guys have to dash, but they're all coming after you as well. So 3 of them can attack you. So that's 16 to hit. Did you say 16? Yes or no? I can never remember. I think you said
Who?
you.
Me
Yes.
still?
Yes.
Yeah, 17.
Yeah. Okay.
17.
All right. So, um, so 15, 14, 16, 11, 16. Okay, that one gets you with a claw, and it does 8 psychic damage, which you will take as 4 psychic damage. So one more Constitution saving throw. All right. Unfortunately, that is too low, and the hand disappears, and the glowing iridescent stone thumps down to the bottom to the stone platform here, or thumps along the stairs, and some little pieces break off. And so this one last little creature that hadn't moved yet, all of you watch as it seems to just wink out of existence. But then Zaleen, one of the ones that was unconscious that you saw that was up there, suddenly stands up and runs over and starts grabbing pieces of the thing. Okay, so and then that is their turn. So Lynn, it's your turn now. I think probably you're more distracted by these things all around you. I don't know if you noticed that, but
Yeah. Mm.
but you certainly know that the hand's dropped.
Yeah. I'm not sure that there's really anything that I can do that's gonna
Mhm.
do anything here.
I'll let you make a perception check to see if you
Yeah.
picked up on that one that sort of seemed to disappear and then the other movement there. Oh, 27. Yeah, okay.
27.
I think that when you glanced over to notice that the hand had dropped, you saw that one sort of disappear, and then an unconscious one seems to get up and run over to it.
That's weird. Um. Yeah, I don't. It's like nothing that I can do can really hurt them. Hmm. Yeah. I don't. I guess all I've really got is just run up and
Hmm? Ready for 5 more
try to.
opportunity attacks?
No.
You can dodge or disengage
Yeah,
if
you
you wanted
can.
to.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna
Okay.
disengage.
All right.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do to these guys. So, but then I'm also going to. So if I disengage, I can move away, right?
Yes, but that's
Okay.
your action.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go there, and then yeah, I don't have a hand anymore, so
Okay.
that's it.
All right. Zinhorn,
Um,
with what you noticed before, I
yeah.
think you noticed that the one that is now up there on the stairs is leaving little footprints in the dust.
Um, okay. 1, 2. That's 30, and just outside of range for my breath weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to hit him with guiding bolt.
All right.
Actually, yeah. Let's see if I can actually connect. Level 1, just to see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Let's roll to hit.
17.
A 17 hits.
£10 of damage.
It hits him, and he yelps in surprise and alarm, and is now glowing with the little guiding bolt pixie dust.
Gotcha.
All right.
And oh well. I was gonna use my bonus action, but
Okay.
I already did a spell.
Yeah, you did.
So I can't do that.
Okay.
All right.
Vertigo.
All right, something has changed.
So probably
Pardon me, coming through. Sorry.
to the bottom of the stairs, just below Zinhorn. But seeing the big glowing thing, it's encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We'll try lobbing a firebolt at it.
Okay.
Uh, 24 to hit,
Wow. Yeah, and then 24.
24 fire.
Yeah. That hits, and it does a substantial amount of damage to this thing. He's not destroyed, but he is definitely pretty hurt at this point, and looks alarmed and afraid in a way that they didn't at all before.
Fascinating.
Um, no, I better hold on to my spells.
Okay. Zaleen.
I'm going to the one that he just hit. It's still up, but like it looks
Yeah, it's pretty hurt.
not good.
Mhm.
I am going to fire off an Eldritch Blast at it,
Okay.
just because I love to.
That seems like a good reason.
Yeah.
30 will hit.
Natural 20? No, that was a 19.
Okay. Well, all three of those will hit.
Okay.
Okay. 5 and 6.
Sorry, there's the last one.
And 8. So that's 19. Wait.
Yes.
Yeah, 19.
Yep.
Yeah, your force bolts basically pelt this little thing into pieces. And it sort of is destroyed, and you watch as it sort of disintegrate into, like, the sand is not silvery in the way that you have seen, like with the Slod, for example, but it looks like it turns into the sand that is what this whole place is made of. Like, it's the same color as, like, the rock of the ground here.
I am going to use my movement then,
Okay.
and just kind of go up onto the stairs here.
All right. Okay. So at this point, these remaining 5 are like, holy crap, the jig is up! And all 5 of these vanish. And the remaining 5 that are kind of, like, you see 5 of the unconscious ones suddenly get up. And they're all running over and using their action to grab a piece of the stone here. And then scattering. They've each just like grabbed like a handful chunk.
Would I get an attack of opportunity against the one that was right here?
Yeah, I'll let you make against that one, sure.
Okay. I need...
Let's say this is reduced because it's they got pieces of it. That hits. 17.
11.
Is that not? Oh, I guess they're not undead. So yeah, 11.
Yeah,
Okay.
11.
Yeah. So yeah, you connect and you feel it's definitely physical this time.
I hope it cries as it runs away.
Yeah.
Like the person that it was eating.
Yeah. So they seem like they have no further appetite for combat here. They didn't want it in the first place. They just didn't like that you were taking their food, ? But unless you chase after them, the combat is over because they are fleeing. You note that there are other unconscious ones like this laying at the base of the temple there, but they seem to, if they have like a psychic counterpart somewhere, you don't know where they are.
All right. I
Uh-huh.
want to examine
Mm-hmm.
the glowy rock stuff.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Go up and make an investigation check, and you've got help, so whoever can make a advantage one.
I will give advantage to somebody else because I'm +0 on investigation.
I have a +8 and I'm proficient. So.
Yeah.
But yours is better, isn't it, Mark?
+11.
Yeah, Mark's better.
All right.
It's one of the few things I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
Double
Wow.
28.
Double 28. Fun. Okay. Yeah. So one of the things you realize immediately upon, well, so tell me what's your method of investigating it here? Like, what are you doing to investigate it?
Probably looking at it. Uh, Probably ends up touching it as well, but
Mhm.
also perhaps reaching out telepathically because we
Yeah.
kind of heard a scream and it sounded like a living being.
Yeah. So as you reach out, you hear, like, you feel this sort of like confusing jumble. It's very incoherent, but just for a split second, you have just a flash of a tiefling kid sitting at a table eating a big piece of pie, and he's just so happy. And then for a split second, you have an Aarakocra who is standing at the front of a classroom and terrified because everyone's looking at them and it seems like they don't know the answer to something. And then you have a flash of what looks like two orcs having a screaming argument about something. But it's all just these very flashes, and they're all kind of muddled and jumbled together. And as soon as you touch it, like physically with your hand, it all just sort of just dissipates like sea foam. And you have, with that telepathic connection, you have a sense all of those are people having dreams right now. And by sort of dissipating this thing, they've woken up.
I think once that realization, hits, then he'll make sure the entire thing is dissipated from that.
Mm-hmm.
Almost kind of like gently kind of poking and prodding.
These are, oh,
And kind of looks over where the other one was chewing on one of them.
people dreaming. I don't know if it's the people or the dreams, but these ones are waking now. Hopefully, it's just the dreams that they were eating. That would explain why everybody's having nightmares and bad dreams. All the good ones are being. Well, there was that one in the front of the classroom. That's not really good, but all the intense ones would be gone. I don't know what this place is, how this all fits, and whether this is really a metaphor or if this is physical, but. The fact
So,
that they're falling to the ground is of most concern.
as you are kind of looking up at this temple gate again, I'm going to just briefly describe it for those who are not seeing the map here. But what you have is sort of on a kind of the ruins of a big stone platform. You have what looks like the entrance facade of a grand temple that doesn't seem to have anything else behind it. It's also partially crumbling. The enormous doorway seems to just be a fiery portal beyond. There is also what looks like a lot of ropes with sort of paper charms that have been strung back and forth across the door. And there's a lot of like engraving and imagery carved into the stone of this temple facade as well.
Does any of that look familiar or identifiable in any way?
Make a religion check.
I think
Natural one.
Vertigo will also take a
Sure, that's
closer
fine.
look at those.
Yeah.
Can I give Saline
Yeah.
help with that?
Sure. You want to re-roll
So I
that
can
one?
roll
And then
again.
Vertigo's rolling one as well? Okay. 27 for Vertigo. There you go. 24. Okay.
24.
Yeah, I think both of you recognize that although there is not a lot of common usage of a lot of these symbols and these types of charms now, where you have seen stuff like this before is in stories about the first great spirits and first deities beginning to shape the world and settle it from the turmoil of the time of the Titans. And a lot of these charms seem to be, well, from one perspective, protective in nature, from another perspective, like blocking in nature. And so your initial impression of this is that it looks like it is designed to keep something Titan related inside.
Is there like heat coming off of this portal, or does it just look fiery?
I think that you have a sense that it's giving off heat. Like, you sort of feel like it is, except you're not like actually literally being burned. You sort of feel it's almost more like you expect it to be hot, and there's some aspect of that that is transferring to a sensory experience. But it seems like it it doesn't seem like it's real fire though.
Well, here seems kind of weird, like everything that it behaves kind of how you think it's going to behave, I guess, or
Mhm.
expect it to.
Yeah.
So I have this song that I have not used that
Ooh.
Christiana gave me like forever ago. She knows what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
The Agni Pariksha says this song tells the story of a woman who, to prove her purity, threw herself into a bonfire which could not burn her. While playing this song, the player and all chosen allies of the player can hear the song and hold on. Chosen allies of the player that can hear the song are immune to fire damage provided that they are good aligned.
Wow.
So,
That was from a long time ago, huh?
yes.
Yeah.
Believe I got that at the Endless Waltz.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think that's right. So, I think that that is a perfect thing to basically finish here is that as you sing this song and bolster your comrades with this magical protection from fire, whether or not this was real fire that would have burned before, you have given yourself protection that feels real. And so we will end tonight's session as the four of you step forward and through this strange portal to the unknown beyond. What will they find on the other side of this portal? Well, we'll have to wait probably 2 weeks because I think next week we're going to play something else because we won't have all of our players. But the adventure will continue when we return with more adventures on so many levels.
So many
So many
levels.
Too
portals.
many
Levels.
levels.
So many planes.
Many dreams.